Good people, what's going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. I'm your host, Desmond. I am at my daughter's volleyball tournament. We're actually at Grand Valley State University. So yeah, we're on a bit of a break, and I wanted to talk about the Detroit Lions draft and what the discourse seems to be on Brad Holmes. There's a couple things. So as a Lions fan, I am incredibly frustrated by the draft picks as a whole. As far as Williams, I think that was clearly a need that we are going to have this year. Lee McNeil is going to miss most of the season. I think reports I saw was like November. He's potentially going to be back. So we're talking, four games in November, missing half the season, maybe, depending on when in November he's back, playing in 6 games potentially, which is a big deal. So we need someone there to, fulfill or to plug in while McNeil's out, and then just for depth there. So I understand that 100%. Where I guess my frustration comes in is to go offensive guard, which I can understand wanting to get someone to have some depth there at the different guard spots. We've had some injuries and guys getting banged up there. So I get it. But in the second round, when the edge player from Marshall was there, I think his last name's Green, Mike Green, was there. From all accounts, everything that I've seen, he was considered a first, he could have been drafted in the first round, and that wouldn't have been crazy. So you're talking about potentially a first-round talent that you're getting in the late second round was there. And he got drafted just a couple picks after, the Lions drafted the guard. And then in the third round, I just, to trade 2 threes to get a wide receiver, to me is just, I don't get it. I don't get it, because to me, with the guard as well as the wide receiver, I just think you could have gotten both of those guys later in the draft. You could have gotten a solid guard. Potentially he's a starter, but also maybe not. And then a wide receiver. I just think that you could have gotten both of those things later in the draft when we clearly have a need at defensive end. And I just would have loved to get an edge in one of those second or third round picks. And then Brad with his comments of we're not just gonna draft a guy just because we have a need, or I'm paraphrasing, but basically we need to fall in love with the guy in order for us to draft him. And I can understand that. So here would be my comparison. So are you telling me that if you had a quarterback rated higher than, let's say, this offensive guard that we drafted in the second round, are you telling me you would have drafted a quarterback over an offensive guard simply because he was higher on your big board? And it just, the way Brad has been operating, and it seems to be exclusive to just edge, because he's drafted almost every other position. He's drafted a running back, he's drafted wide receivers, he's drafted safeties, he's drafted linebacker. He's basically drafted every position. It's just the edge that he seems to be allergic to for whatever reason. And I'm gonna just give my thoughts on it, and trust me, I understand this is a completely ludicrous narrative. It's asinine. It is asinine. But part of me thinks he's doing this on purpose, because there's a lot of talk as far as Lions and social media, Lions fans on social media. I'm on there. I don't tweet a whole bunch, but I love the Lions, so I want them to do well and I want them to improve. So I do tweet about it, but I'm not alone in that. A lot of people think that we need an edge player opposite Hutch. Also with Hutch being, he's coming off a very serious injury. It all points to being really positive, but nonetheless, it's a very serious injury. So it's going to take him some time to get that confidence back to be the Hutch that we had at the beginning of last season, who was on an absolute tear. He was terrific. I mean, he was going towards Defensive Player of the Year. I think if he just would have stayed close to that pace, was going to be it. But I don't think it's a great idea to assume that Hutch is going to be the exact same guy that started last season, because it's going to take time to get that confidence, to get that, to get through. There's got to be some type of mental block of, man, we gotta, it's just different, right? I have a surgically repaired leg now, and I didn't before. So it's going to take him some time. I would imagine that in training camp, he's probably not going to be a full go, in all of the chaos and the, 1v1s where you're tackling guys and like it gets a little crazy and ugly in there in the pile. I'd imagine he's probably not going to be 100% participant. And I wouldn't be shocked if in the first 2 games that he didn't take every single defensive snap like he typically does. I think it's going to take some time. We'll see what happens, but it's just odd to look at the offensive line and draft a guy with the thought process of, well, a couple of our O-linemen, our guards may get banged up, and then not apply the same logic to our defensive line and our edge guys, our edge players. Like, what part of Brad Holmes thinks that Marcus Davenport is going to play 16, 17 games next season? I would love it if that happened, but I think you're being irresponsible as a general manager if you operate with that assumption. Because why would you? Marcus Davenport has not shown us that at all. He played, 4 games last year? Tore his pec muscle, I think, or had a hyperextend, some elbow, and was done for the season. So there's nothing that he has done that would make you think we are set at the edge spot opposite of Hutch. Paschal is more of an interior D lineman, but he can bump out to play edge, but same thing. Paschal's been a little banged up. And then when he does, it's just crazy to me. And mainly because of, defensive end is probably, at worst, the 3rd best position in the NFL. At best, it's the 2nd. Number 1 is quarterback. We all know that. We all understand that. 2 and 3, left tackle and defensive end. However you want to kind of flip those around. But if you're missing, one of those 3 or 2 of those 3, you're almost dead in the water. If you got the quarterback, you're good to go. But after that, you need to have pass rushers. Look at the Eagles, right? They've got multiple guys who can rush the passer. And the frustrating part, it's frustrating all over the place, but what's also frustrating is that Brad Holmes seems to be operating as if we are the only team that gets a chance to improve. Other teams are improving as well. I just mentioned the Eagles. They are moving heaven and earth to try to improve that roster, to try to get better. The Chiefs doing the same thing, improving, doing whatever they can to fill every need that they can, spending every dollar they can up until, the salary cap and what they have available to improve their team. We're not the only ones out here with draft picks. The Chicago Bears are better today than they were before the draft started. Colson Loveland, that dude's a player. He's going to be a problem. Luther Bolden, player, problem. That guy's going to be a problem. So it's frustrating to me. And then also too, people acting as if Brad Holmes is beyond reproach. Excuse me. What? Okay. If that's the case, show me the Super Bowl trophies that we have because of Brad Holmes. And make zero mistake. He is a terrific GM. He's done an amazing job of getting us from the gutter to the number 1 seed in the NFC. That should be and is commended. People talk about Brad Holmes as one of the better GMs in the NFL because he is. But there's not many GMs that are beyond reproach. Brett Veach, beyond reproach. Howie Roseman, beyond reproach. No criticism, no issues there. But the job is not finished. Like you've gotten us. I mean, that's probably 4 or 5 steps to go from being a laughing stock of the NFL, which the Lions were, to now, I mean, we are consistently talked about as one of the better teams in the NFC. That's about 4 or 5 steps that we took right there. And they are massive. They are massive steps. He deserves all of the kudos, all of the applause for that. But the job is not finished. That wasn't the mountaintop, to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs and then lose in the first game. That was not the mountaintop. That is not the mountaintop. If we get the 1 seed this upcoming season and lose in the first playoff game, still not the mountaintop. The goal is to win a Super Bowl. He said that. Dan Campbell has said that. So until we've hit that mark, then we've got to take steps to improve. And we, at the trade deadline last season, when Hutch was already was already hurt, out for the season, people are talking like, man, can we make a trade to get a edge player? We end up getting Zadarius Smith. I was someone, I'm like, could we get another depth guy? Like not a one of the A-list guys that were available, but can we just get somebody else who can be a rotational piece? No. Okay. And the people who are standing with Brad Holmes no matter what are like, guys, relax, okay? We've got free agency. We can get another edge player. Okay, that's fair. We let Zadarius Smith walk, okay? Free agency comes, free agency goes. We don't sign an edge player. And the Brad Holmes stands, let's just call him, guys, relax. We got the draft. We can get an edge. It's not a big deal. You got to relax. Okay, well, first 3 rounds of the draft are over. And I don't know about you, but the odds of us getting an elite edge player or a guy who can help us today in the 6th or 7th round, because that's all the Lions have left. We don't have any 4th rounders or 5th rounders. So finding a guy a plug and play defensive end in the 6th or 7th round, the odds aren't very high. So, and now it's you guys are overreacting. We didn't need an edge player. We didn't okay, we didn't need a guard or a wide receiver either. They are nice to have. I get it. It's nice to have somebody that you could plug in if one of the guards gets banged up. The receiver, I hope he's terrific. I truly do. But if he has 25 catches this season, I would be shocked. Amon-Ra's going to get a lot of targets. J-Mo's going to get a lot of targets. Sam Laporte is going to get a lot of targets. Tim Patrick is going to get some targets. Khalif Raymond's going to get some targets. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get some targets. David Montgomery, not many, but he's going to get some targets. I mean, there's only one football. And I get it. We may, move on from J-Mo, but as it stands today, we haven't. So I'm frustrated, very frustrated. You may say I'm overreacting. Cool. I think the Lions are a really good football team, but what I also think is we missed an opportunity to improve our team, because I think if we have Mike Green, who we could have had in the 2nd round or in the 3rd round, I believe Landon Jackson is his name, from Arkansas. I think that would have made us a better team as it stands today, because I think if let's say Davenport is not healthy, then you have a young guy that you can develop throughout camp that can be a rotational piece that's going to play on a regular basis. Like I think even if Davenport was healthy, let's say we drafted Mike Green. If Marcus Davenport is healthy, Mike Green's probably still taking, 20 snaps, 20 defensive snaps a game. That's probably on the low end. So you're talking about a wide receiver, which, I don't get it. I don't get it. I am frustrated. And we'll see. We will see what happens. But I just, to me, outside of 2 GMs, man, there's only 2 GMs that to me are beyond reproach. Outside of that, man, no, you've got a job to do. It is a consistent job. It's never finished. The job's not finished, because as soon, with Brett Veach and the Eagles, Howie Roseman, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and guess what? That is over. Now they're trying to figure out, how do we get better? How do we win 2 Super Bowls now, not just one, right? With the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, right? They won a Super Bowl. Okay, cool. That's over. How do we improve? How do we get better? And it's a continuous cycle of improvement, because you've got to acquire talent, and then there's some talent you got to make a decision on letting go out, walk out the door. Joe Tooney, they traded Joe Tooney because they felt they couldn't pay him, and it just was better for them to make a move and trade him. That's the gig. The gig is constant improvement, because we've got as much talent as you have coming in. You've got some talent that's going out the door as well. So the job, it's never finished. It's never finished. The only time your job is finished is when you're holding up that Lombardi trophy just for that day, for Super Bowl Sunday. It's then. And then that week when you have the parade. After that, it's back to it. So forgive me for wanting us to go from a really, really good team to a Super Bowl champion, because that's what I would like our Lions to do. And I think an edge player would have helped us get closer to that goal. And I'm not sure we got any closer to that goal with our first 3 picks. But that's me. That's it for me. Peace.